Good morning. Starting on page 39 of the Summons of the Lord of Hosts from the Suriy-i-Haykal, the Suri of the temple. Say, it is in our power, should we wish it, to cause all created things to expire in an instant, and with the next to endue them again with new life. The knowledge thereof, however, is with God alone, the all-knowing, the all-informed. It is in our power, should we wish it, to enable a speck of floating dust to generate in less than the twinkling of an eye suns of infinite, of unimaginable splendor, to cause a dewdrop to develop into vast and numberless oceans, to infuse into every letter such a force as to empower it to unfold all the knowledge of past and future ages. This, in truth, is a matter simple of accomplishment. Such have been the evidences of my power from the beginning that hath no beginning until the end that hath no end. My creatures, however, have been oblivious of my power, have reputed my sovereignty, and contended with mine own self, the all-knowing, the all-wise. So, when he says, have contended with mine own self, the all-knowing, the all-wise, I believe that he's talking about the manifestations of God. People have argued with all of the manifestations of God from age to age, whether it be Abraham or Moses or Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad or the Bab or Bahá'u'lláh or those who came from the cultures that didn't have written histories. Say, of all that lieth between heaven and earth, naught can stir except by my leave. And unto my kingdom none can ascend save at my behest. My creatures, however, have remained veiled from my might and my sovereignty, and are numbered with the heedless. Say, naught is seen in my revelation but the revelation of God. Okay, so now this is God speaking through Bahá'u'lláh, but from the voice of Bahá'u'lláh. So this is God infusing these words into Bahá'u'lláh, who is speaking now about himself as well as God. So he says, naught is seen in my revelation but the revelation of God, and in my might but his might, could ye but know it. Say, my creatures are even as the leaves of a tree. They proceed from the tree and depend on it for their existence, yet remain oblivious of their root and origin. We draw such similitudes for the sake of our discerning servants, that perchance they may transcend a mere plant-like level of existence and attain unto true maturity in this resistless and immovable cause. Say, my creatures are even as the fish of the deep. Their life dependeth upon the water, and yet they remain unaware of that which by the grace of an omniscient and omnipotent Lord sustaineth their very existence. Indeed, their heedlessness is such that were they asked concerning the water and its properties, they would prove entirely ignorant. Thus do we set forth comparisons and similitudes, that perchance the people may turn unto him who is the object of the adoration of the entire creation. So Baha'u'lláh is saying that Baha'u'lláh, the manifestation of God for today, and his revelation to humanity is like the water that the fish is swimming in. It's like the tree that the leaf is hanging on. We are completely dependent on this revelation, but we don't know it. We ignore it. He says we're like plants in our ignorance. O people, fear God, and disbelieve not in him whose grace hath surrounded all things, whose mercy hath pervaded the contingent world, and the sovereign potency of whose cause hath encompassed both your inner and your outer beings, both your beginning and your end. Stand ye in awe of the Lord, and be of them that act uprightly. Beware, lest ye be accounted among those who allow the verses of their Lord to pass them by, unheard and unrecognized. These truly are of the wayward. Okay, and now he's talking about those who follow other teachers and put them in the position of God. Say, would ye worship him who neither heareth nor seeth, and who is of a truth the most abject and wretched of all God's servants? Actually, here he's talking about the one who turned against him, his brother, Mirza-Yahya. Wherefore have ye failed to follow the one who hath come unto you from the source of divine command, bearing the tidings of God, the most exalted, the most great? O people, be not like unto those who presented themselves before our throne, and yet failed to perceive or comprehend. These are indeed a contemptible people. We recited unto them verses that would enrapture the dwellers of the heavenly dominion and the inmates of the kingdom on high. And yet they departed, veiled therefrom, and hearkened rather unto the voice of him who is but a servant of God, and a mere creation of his will. Thus do we impart unto you that which shall guide you towards the path of God's favored ones. How many those who entered within the abode of paradise, the seat wherein the throne of God had been established, and stood before their Lord, the most exalted, the most great, only to inquire about the four gates, or some imam of the Islamic faith. Such was the state of these souls, if ye be of them that comprehend. So he's saying, people came before him. People came into his presence. And instead of recognizing that he had brought a vast new revelation, they started asking about Islam. He's saying they were blind. He was revealing the new revelation to them, and they couldn't see it. It is even as ye witness in the present day, those who have disbelieved in God and joined partners with him cling to a single one of our names. In other words, a single manifestation of God. and are debarred from recognizing him who is the creator of all names. We testify that such men are of a truth amongst the people of the fire. They ask the Son to expound the words of the shadow, and the true one to explain the utterances of his creatures. Could ye but perceive it? Say, O people, the sun offereth not save the effulgence of its own light, and that which appeareth therefrom, whilst all else seek illumination from its rays. So he's saying, the manifestation of God for the day in which you live, which today is Bahá'u'lláh, is like the sun. It's not going to explain, it is shining its own revelation. And everything else is illumined from the rays of this revelation. Fear God and be not of the ignorant. In other words, take seriously this opportunity that you have, because God is not going to let us off the hook. We have to do our best. We can't be careless. Among them also were those who inquired of the darkness about the light. In other words, those who go to non-believers and ask them about the revelation of Bahá'u'lláh. Say, open thine eyes, that thou mayest behold the brightness which hath visibly enveloped the earth. This verily is a light which hath risen and shone forth above the horizon of the day spring of divine knowledge with manifest radiance. Would ye ask the Jews whether Jesus was the true one from God? Or the idols, if Muhammad was an apostle of his Lord? Or inquire from the people of the Quran as to him who is the remembrance of God, the most exalted, the most great? The remembrance of God, he's talking here about the Bab. He's saying, if you want to know about my revelation, check out my revelation. Don't ask people who don't know. Say, O people, cast away before the splendors of this revelation the things that ye possess, and cleave to that which God hath bidden you observe. So when he says the things that ye possess, in other words, everything that you've learned until now, set it aside and see what Bahá'u'lláh is saying. What you possess is your opinions, but you may have misunderstood, so look at what he's saying. Such is his command unto you, and he verily is best able to command. By my beauty, my purpose in revealing these words is to cause all men to draw nigh unto God, the all-glorious, the all-praised. Beware lest ye deal with me as you dealt with my herald. So the herald was the Bab, who was executed. Do not object when the verses of God are sent down unto you from the court of my favor, saying, these do not proceed from an innate and untaught nature, which was said by people. In other words, Baha'u'llah's knowledge comes from God, not from any teacher or school. For that nature itself hath been created by my word, and circleth round me, if ye be of them that apprehend this truth. Baha'u'lláh is a mystery. His reality is beyond our comprehension. Yes, he is our teacher, but he is way more than that. And as you immerse yourself in these writings, you're going to realize there is so much mystery as to the true reality of Bahá'u'lláh, who has a special station among the manifestations of God, because this is the day of God. This is the day that shall not be followed by night. This is the day promised in all the holy books. And so this manifestation is very mysterious. This manifestation is very, very much more powerful than we realize. And that's what he's saying there. Inhale from the utterances of your Lord, the All-Merciful, the sweet smell of the garment of inner meanings, which have been diffused throughout the entire creation and hath shed its fragrance over all created things. Happy are those who perceive it and hasten unto God with radiant hearts. So within all of these words are hidden inner meanings, which when we're open, our soul responds to, and we can also meditate on. And now we've got the voice of God speaking again to Bahá'u'lláh through Bahá'u'lláh. O living temple, we verily have made thee a mirror unto the kingdom of names, that thou mayest be amidst all mankind a sign of my sovereignty, a herald unto my presence, a summoner unto my beauty, and a guide unto my straight and perspicuous path. I'm going to end there for today, and that's the beginning of paragraph 81. We'll start with that again tomorrow. And if you have any comments, questions, thoughts, I would be delighted to hear from you. Have a blessed day.